Death Comes Investigating. Hello, annyeonghaseyo. I'm Shandorage. Welcome to Cinemarea, where we only talk about self-care movies and dramas. Black. My favorite color. I was browsing through the list of dramas to watch and I saw the title and I had to watch this. After having seen it, it's not just the color that I like. This show is a great mixture of fantasy, romance, thriller, and comedy. Black stars Song Seung-heon as a Grim Reaper/detective. That's interesting. Ko-ara as a woman who can foresee someone's death. EL as a doctor, Kim Dong-jun as a young CEO from a wealthy family, and Kim Won-hae as Mitchinge or Crazy Dog, a police officer, and so many others it's impossible to name them. The story of Black is highly complex, but the basics are this. In the underworld, Grim Reapers exist, and their job is to carry the souls of the deceased to the other side. One of them, 444, is known to be especially cold-hearted. He doesn't care about humans at all, and when his partner escapes to the world of the living, he goes after him. Meanwhile, in the world of the living lives a woman who sees shadows on people who are about to die, which makes her life hell. One day she meets a detective, and as it turns out their relationship goes way back, but the detective doesn't seem to remember. They're just about to work together, they're gonna try to save people's lives, but then the detective gets shot, and the Grim Reaper takes his place, inhabiting his body in hopes of finding his partner. And this is about 1% of the story. I'm seriously constantly amazed by the writing when it comes to Korean dramas. Somehow the writers are able to create such detailed, complex, interesting stories. I'm just in awe of that. But Black is unusually complex, even compared to other dramas, sometimes to its own detriment. I'll get to that, but overall I really like this show. The first few minutes were so strong I was drawn into the story instantly. The way the first episode is set up, you would think that the story is going to go in a certain way, but then it takes a huge turn at the end. Honestly, I would have been okay with the original setup, but then the writers were able to make it even more interesting. The highlight of Black for me was definitely Song Seung-heon's performance as the Grim Reaper in the detective's body. Originally, the detective was a very kind man, but then he got shot in the head, the Grim Reaper took his place, and since he has no empathy for humans whatsoever, the way he treats people is just pure savageness. He speaks Pama to his superiors at the police station, and basically to everyone else, which is something you wouldn't want to do in Korea. Black isn't a comedy per se, but when the humor is there, it mostly comes from the main character's savageness. But the more time he spends as a human, he gets more and more human, and he has to learn how to deal with people, situations, emotions. This kind of story is the best for character development. Of course, you need a great actor to do that, and Song Seung-heon was fantastic. This kind of role must be an actor's dream, having to portray every aspect of what it means to be a human being. It was awesome. But it's not just the acting, the story is also very interesting. Without his knowledge, the Grim Reaper finds himself in the middle of a case that's growing bigger and bigger, starting with a skeleton that's been dug up from 20 years ago. And you would not believe how far they are able to take this story. Seriously, you have to see for yourself. Talking about it is like trying to draw a football game. Impossible. At the end of the show, the creators left a little message for us saying that ultimately the show was about human greed, and I can agree with that. But honestly, it's about so much more. Let's say it's more like about being human, every aspect of it, good and bad and in between. But I kind of feel like that this is also too small of a box to put this show in. Seriously, you have to see it for yourself. It's definitely an experience, and a good one at that. With that said, this is definitely not a perfect show. Like I mentioned, the story gets way too complex sometimes for its own good, and it does get fractured sometimes. There are just so many threads and the writers are juggling so many things and so many characters, it does get a little convoluted. For example, the Grim Reaper's main goal is to find his partner, but then he very quickly forgets about it and it doesn't get explored, only in the last few episodes. Villains and characters that seem to be important get sidelined, and it's especially true with Ko-ara's character, which is kind of a shame. She's supposed to be the other lead in the show, her character is immensely interesting, her acting is good, but at a certain point there was nothing to add to her character and she became boring. Not the acting, the character. And in the last few episodes she was barely of any importance and I was kinda sad about it. Her character had such huge potential but that was never realized. And I can say that about the whole show, I never really felt like it reached its full potential other than the 16th and the 17th episode. Those were fantastic. But the length of the show is also a problem. 18 episodes, some of them are more than 80 minutes long, it's a long f***ing ride. And there is filler, definitely. It could have been more condensed for sure. One other thing I wanted Black to explore more was the underworld. I love these kind of things, I thought there was a lot to explore there, but honestly it's just a backdrop. Now, I don't want to leave this review on a sour note, so I will say this. I really liked how the romance was incorporated into this story. It was never cheesy, it was never forced, it never got in the way of anything, And actually, it made a lot of sense in terms of the development of the main character. I really appreciated that. And just overall, I really appreciated this drama. If you like a story where genres are mixed really well, if you don't mind a hint of fantasy, if you like good detective stories, if you don't mind when a drama requires your attention, I highly recommend Black. Originally, I wanted to give this one 75%, but I enjoyed the 16th and the 17th episode so much, I'm gonna give Black 80%. It's a long ride, definitely could have been a bit shorter and more to the point, but there's plenty to like here. If you've already seen this, please tell me what did you think about it. That's all for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and see you on the other side. See you in the next video. Bye!